Hello all, my name is Justin McIntyre and we are here at Antelope Island State Park in Utah, which is down the street from my house over there in Syracuse. Behind me you see my 2018 Stinger GT. Now, I was lucky enough to be able to purchase this car last week and have put some good miles on it already. This car has had a lot of press over the past few months, understandably so, being a Kia, and we're gonna try to identify one question that has not been answered so far. Will the Kia last the test of time like all of its competitors? So in this video series, I'm going to be updating on the car about every 5,000 miles and telling you what maintenance has had to be done, if there's been any problems with the car, and if there are any issues. If there's any major problems in between, like a recall or anything like that, I will also update in between those mileage intervals. So without further ado, we'll continue on. I will give a brief overview of what my thoughts on the car, and then we'll see what happens from there. Okay, welcome back to the interior of the Stinger. I'm gonna give you just some brief impressions of three different aspects of the car. I'm gonna give you some brief impressions on the performance, the exterior, and the interior of the car. I feel there have already been enough in-depth reviews, so these are just what I feel about the car. Number one, performance. I think this is where Kia put a lot of their time and effort into, as they realized in order to even have a chance of being competitive, they had to put a lot of effort into this category. They developed this 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 from one of their existing powertrains that does a very healthy job and has a very wide power band. It has 365 horsepower and 375 foot-pounds of torque. Peak torque happens at around 1300 RPM, so you've always got power. Not a lot of turbo lag, and it does a very good job of propelling the car forward. 0 to 60 happens in 4.7 seconds, and some magazines have tested 4.5. It feels every bit of that. The transmission's an 8-speed. It does pretty good. Shifts are occasionally a little slower than sometimes you might want with the paddles, and sometimes it fights a little bit, but it gets the job done. And considering probably how little they spent to try to keep their cost in a realm where they could compete, it does pretty good. Handling, it handles, really feels really good considering it's electric steering. Has decent feedback for what it is. Could be a little tighter, but it does the job well. And with being that they spec it from factory with Michelin Pilot Super Sports all the way around, it really does help to give the car a good planted feel and holds on through the corners. I personally think they did a very good job of mixing multiple ideas from multiple companies in good sources to make the car look unique. They kept their signature Tiger Nose grille, which is great for their branding. I think it looks great with the car. Most of the vents you see around the car are functional, except for a couple on the hood and on the rear. But they did a very good job with molding these ideas. Some people have claimed that it looks similar to an Audi, with either an A5 or an A7 Sportback. Others have claimed that there are elements of Maserati in the rear end. There's a lot of different ideas they took from. But in the end, I think no matter what you think the car looks like, if you think it's related to something, I think it keeps its own individuality very well. I also think they chose the wheels well to go with it and kept the styling within their brand segment to really continue to give this an edge. Because remember, this car is a first for Kia. They have not done a sports sedan. So I think this platform moving on from here forward will be a great styling cue to continue with the sporty segment of the Kia brand. On to the interior. Now, I think they did their homework here as well. I think that's kind of the theme of this car, is it's full of surprises, and Kia amazingly did their homework really well. For instance, the air vents in this interior have a very good mechanical operation. They feel very solid. However, they look very classy, almost akin to modern Mercedes. They did a pretty good job of pointing the cabin with plenty of stitched leather all the way around, and it's soft to the touch. It's Nappa leather. It feels very good to sit in. The dashboard is stitched. And on the top portion and on the middle portion, it's padded leather. They use the aluminum accenting everywhere, and there's quite a bit of it that is real aluminum. It's not just plastic in most cases. And I think that, they really did a good job of trying to do a premium interior, considering, again, Kia is a cheaper brand. I think they probably took some cues on how they made the Genesis interiors to make the quality feel there. Yes, there are a few harder plastics around the interior, the lower parts of the dashboard, the lower parts of the doors, obviously with where they're trying to price the car, they're going to have to do a little bit of cheaper things somewhere. But they chose very carefully where they put the cheap materials. In those areas, you're not going to notice them, and they would be appreciated anyways, as they'll be more durable and very cheap to replace. Overall, I love the interior, and I think they did a very good job, especially with keeping buttons for all of your regular functions, which is a big problem with many luxury cars, is they start burying things in the screen and have no secondary control for them. So we'll have to see how the materials hold up in time. So far they've done really well in the 2,000 miles that I've put on the car, and hopefully they continue to do so. It doesn't get old. Anyways, those are my overall thoughts and impressions on the car. I love the car, and I've enjoyed every minute of owning it since I've had it for a week and 2,000 miles already. From here on out, again, every 5,000 miles I'm going to do an update video, or if anything major happens in between, I will update and let you guys know. I'm just as curious as I'm sure the rest of the world is to see how the Kia ends up faring in the real world over the test of time and mileage. So from here on out, I'd like everybody to like and subscribe to follow these videos. Make sure to add it so it shows up on your news feed on YouTube, and I hope you all have a good time, and I hope to see you later. Thanks.